So what would you say your biggest, riskiest leap in business? Switching over now
Back
a
to
little bit more
business.
to business.
Yeah. Yeah, business is tough. Business is all, it's tough. You're always in that, survival. You always seem to think you're in that survival mode, and it's never enough. But for me, like going way back, the biggest decision I think that I ever made was actually breaking off of my father's business, because I was working for him. I worked for him for 10 years.
Yeah.
And I was flying and living in all these different countries all over the world. And, for me to come back and, he got into a bit of trouble. And for my sister and I to realize that we need to do our own thing was really, really tough. So stepping into his office and saying that, hey, I'm going and my sister's coming with me.
Wow. Yeah.
It was really tough to go off and then set up your own place. And, go to the bank and leverage as much as you could for a startup.
Yeah.
Was really tough.
Oh,
and I was just so lucky. I know I mentioned in the book, a couple of contracts that we were able to get. One was from Taiwan. And, we were able to get this, and we were in a lot of debt, but we were able to get it, which kind of caught us going, So I would say that was the biggest thing, like way back, was just, I guess, take the leap, to go out and just do it, as opposed to just staying. I could have stayed and worked in the comfort of my father's organization.
Yeah.
I could have, could have been ended up in jail or something if I did.
Well, I would imagine,
but,
people have, people that have had mentors or, have been with companies for a long time and split off can be difficult. But then adding to that, it's your father.
It's my father.
You have obviously the personal connection to it too.
Yeah.
Must make that even that much more difficult.
It was really tough. It was tough for, I think, both my sister and myself.
Yeah.
To go. And my sister stayed with me at AquaGuard for about 4 years.
Yeah.
And then she went off and did her own thing after that. So
right.
Yeah. So that was tough.
Wow. And obviously in business, people I've heard that to be successful you have to fail, type of thing. So what mistakes did you take that you think other people could have avoided in their businesses or try to avoid in their businesses?
Yeah, my biggest thing, and I mentioned here after I hired my coach, he asked me, he says, what's your goal? What do you want? And I said to him, freedom. I just want my freedom. And so what I tried to do, I don't know if it was after that point or before that point, is I wanted to get freedom in the business. So what I did is I kept hiring in general managers to come in and run the business basically for myself and my other business partner. There were two of us at the time. Run the business for us. And every time we brought somebody in from outside, they would last. Well, one guy lasted 5 years, which was quite a long time. The other guy lasted like a year, and the other one was like 8 months or something. I kept trying to buy my freedom or get my freedom via bringing somebody else in.
Right.
Which, naming him a CEO or a general manager or whatever, I changed the name every time. Hopefully it would work, but it didn't. So I had to let them all go. But I didn't realize that I had a younger guy coming up through the ranks for years. And he knew more about the business than anybody. And so he was the right choice to have step in and actually buy out my other partner. I had a minority partner. So bought him out, and he's now the CEO of the business and running it. But he knows more about the business than anybody. So my biggest mistake was parachuting in these guys just because they were, bigger time operators than us, and they were in bigger companies. Their resumes were unbelievable. Yeah. They didn't roll their sleeves up and actually do the work. Yeah. Where this other fellow, Cameron Jans, incredible guy, he learned. He basically came in at 18 and was sweeping the floor. Yeah. Yeah. And then he worked his way into pulling chain with the oil containment barriers and then the welding machines. Then he got to know our whole supply chain because he was a buyer. And then from there, so he knew all the numbers, and then he knew the sales, and then everything just he knew everything. Right. Yeah, and he's running the business now.
And so do you feel like because of that he's that much more invested? I mean, intellectually to the company and understanding, and it's could become more of a lifestyle as opposed to the next the next position for a CEO or a general manager or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, we run our business like it's like a family,
Right.
And I mean, he has the utmost respect from every one of our employees. Like I mean, he'll get in there and he rolls up his sleeves. He'll turn a wrench if he has to. He'll be, at a presentation, he'll be an offshore supply vessel in Brazil, conducting whatever. But he's a great leader. He's like he's a great leader.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of my biggest mistakes is I tried 3 people parachuting in. So that used up probably 8 or 9 years.
Right.
Where I should have realized this a lot sooner.
Right.
Bringing in people organically through the company.
Yeah. And do you think that offset maybe the experience or lack of experience he would bring into it? Just, his buy-in to the company outweighed maybe somebody's business experience that maybe came in from somewhere else?
Yeah, well, I think he had, because he bought into the company, he has more skin in the game for sure. And, it's his company, So he has more, he really wants to see it succeed.
Yeah.
We're a hired gun, they're getting their salary, dividends, stock options, whatever it may be. But yeah, they could come, for a few years and then go where, he has skin in the game. So it's his baby, it's his thing. So
Well, hearing some of the stories in the book about the business, makes you, everyone had that mindset of, whatever it takes to get it done, you get it done. It doesn't matter.
We would do that.
If it's dark out, if it's light out, so that's probably lends itself to that whole theory of
and everybody's like that. I'm really fortunate, and I mean it's taken a long time to get to that point, but the guys, guys, girls, everybody, they just jump in and get things done. It's not like, oh no, it's not my job or what. No, they just it's just done.
Watching the rating to
and I think it's because of great leadership and Cameron. The way he leads, people just have the respect for him. If he's going to go do it, well, I can do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. That's